Thank you, Speaker. I want to thank the Premier, the Opposition Leader and the Member for Coogee for their very thoughtful and heartfelt remarks. And I acknowledge the family members who are in the gallery and for those who are watching online. I stand here today to mark a deep sense of tragedy in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, the senseless loss of 6 innocent lives, an attack so shocking and so random that even weeks later, all efforts to try to make sense of it feel futile. A breach of our trust in a place where we felt safe, dozens bearing witness to the violence and its aftermath, hundreds caught up in the lockdowns and in the rushed evacuation. Our community, a city and a country in shock. Ripples from that day have spread right through our suburbs, touching us all. And for those of us in the eastern suburbs, Bondi Junction is our town square. It's where we meet, it's where we shop, it's where 17 million customers visit every year. And on any given Saturday, let alone the first day of school holidays, it is bustling. You'll find parents shopping for mouthguards, for Saturday sport, teenagers going to the movies, my own teenager getting his hair cut. And tragically, we know that also on this day, there was a mum taking her little girl to buy a birthday present. There was a bride-to-be preparing for her wedding, a security guard proud on his first day of day shift, a young mum shopping with her baby, an international student celebrating the end of exams, a woman catching up for coffee with a friend and heading to the mall. Beautiful, hope-filled lives with so much potential cut so cruelly short. And whether we knew them or not, these victims seem so familiar to us. The randomness has drawn us all together in our grief and our shared experience. It could have been any one of us, and the victims feel like people that we knew. The pain of their stories for so many is so deep that it feels overwhelming. And we use words like healing or moving forward, and sometimes those words feel like a betrayal, because how can we move forward when we're leaving them behind? How does the world keep moving when for them it's stopped? Their families will never be the same. Nothing is fair. None of this makes sense, and our words today cannot make it better. But as hard as it is, our community will move forward, and we will not be defined by the actions of one man. And we cannot allow the events of Saturday the 13th to scar us forever. We owe it to them. We owe it to those who lost their lives. We owe it to those who survived and suffered serious injuries. We owe it to those who were traumatised by the events on that day. And as our community moves forward, we promise to carry your memories with us. We honour you by celebrating your lives and acknowledging the overwhelming good in our community. And there are so many stories of courage and kindness that came out of that day. That Saturday, we saw people run towards danger. A man who positioned himself between the killer and a mum with her 3 children. We saw Damien Garreau, otherwise known as Bollard Man, try to fend off the attacker. We heard about the bravery of Bondi lifeguard Andy Reid, who asked to be let out of lockdown to perform CPR on the victims. He was assisted by Scotty Wymark, by Julie Fla and her husband, and by many others whose names haven't been in the media, who played critical roles though on that day. And we acknowledge the Westfield staff and shop assistants who acted swiftly to protect customers, moving them into the safety in back rooms. We commend the action of Inspector Amy Scott, who, without police backup, ran towards the killer, stopping him and undoubtedly saving lives. Her expert training, her calm and professional actions did save the lives of so many. We know that. We owe her a great deal of gratitude. We thank the men who ran behind her with chairs, ready to provide backup. We thank the paramedics, the nurses and the doctors who provided life-saving care and support. We thank the mental health professionals and volunteers who have helped and continue to help people process the trauma of that day. In the days that followed the attack, we saw the speed of modern life in Bondi Junction stilled. This busy community hub fell quiet with the contemplation of countless individuals who came to leave flowers and tributes in Bondi Junction, in Oxford Street Mall, and in the centre. Thousands of condolence messages left in person and online. That is the measure of our community and our state. Strangers who may not have known the victims but felt compelled to demonstrate our unity in the aftermath. The candlelight vigil at Bondi Beach, attended by so many, not just from the eastern suburbs, but people from across New South Wales. The surf club paddle-outs by members from Bondi and Bronte and beyond. The Catholic Church service, the St Andrew's Cathedral service, and so many others. The mothers' groups, the school PNCs providing support. And the goodness of everyday people checking in with each other just a little more often than they usually do. And we need to keep doing that, because the impacts of that day will take a long time for people to process. For the kids going back to school, who went back to school, for many of them who were at Westfield at that time, we know they will still need our help. We don't know what drove that man to do what he did, why he primarily targeted women, and those answers, some of them hopefully will come through the inquest. But I acknowledge his family, who's lost a son and have to live with the knowledge of what he did. They tried, but were unable to help, in the words of his dad, a very sick boy. Today, in honouring those lost and in keeping our community safe, we must commit to finding answers. We must understand the dangerous gaps in our mental health system for those with significant psychiatric conditions. This is a topic for a much broader conversation at a different time. It will be hard, but it cannot be too hard to address. The shoppers are back at Bondi Junction, but life is not back to normal. It will take time. And today's condolence motion is a way for us to unite, to acknowledge a sense of shared grief, to remember those whose lives were taken and whose lives have been forever impacted. But to remember also there is so much good in our community. To the families and loved ones of the victims, we are so deeply sorry for your loss. Our community will always be there to support you.